YouTube. Say it with me, y'all. Hold on. It's on my jacket. Hold up. Is this thing on? So, without further ado, let's get right into it. As y'all know, we pick a comment every week from the video before that stuck out to us the most to send something completely free to the person that wins on me. Completely free. So the comment that won that my son picked this week, I'll put it right here. And it was made by Pedro Sanchez. Now this one means a lot to me because Pedro definitely is loyal. He never misses an episode. And basically in the comment, he just put, hashtag Don't Panic Tuesday. And the reason why I think my son picked that is because the fact that he is now such a loyal person that never miss an episode. He's basically saying Tuesday is Don't Panic Day for him because he knows every Tuesday we drop a video. That meant a lot to my son. That meant a lot to me. So I think that's why he picked that comment. Now, I did have some people ask me, well, what's the whole thing with a giveaway every week for a comment? So let me explain, and then I promise I'm not going to keep you long. Then we're going to get into the video. So understand something. For me, time is the most valuable thing that you have, okay? Money can't buy you more time. Money can't buy time, period. So it just meant something to me to say, you know what? For you to take 10 or 15 minutes out of your day once a week to watch my videos and put a comment under my video, I gotta be able, and I should, send you something just for you to take 10 or 15 minutes out of your day to support me by watching my video and commenting, okay? Because that's 10 or 15 minutes out of your life that you can't get back. So me sending you something every week, if your comment gets picked, is just my little way of saying thank you, okay? That's all it is. Nothing more, nothing less. I hope y'all truly understand. It's just me showing you love for you taking the time out. Enough with the mushiness, all right? Let's get into video. How them YouTubers do it? We always get this confused. Hold up, let's see. Okay, and we're back. So what we're going to talk about this week is I'm just going to give you reasons real quick. I'm not going to hold you long of why I feel like, if you're a fan of these 90s JDM classic cars, there's reasons why I feel like you should hurry up as quickly as you can and buy one right now as we speak. Now, understand something. This video is only gonna, I'm speaking from the area that I'm in. Where you live at, it may be different. So I'm only going based off of where I'm from. Okay? So if the reasons I give don't necessarily pertain to your area, that's fine. I'm only speaking on, again, the way it is where I'm at. So without sitting here holding you any longer, let's just get into it. So one main reason why I say that you should go ahead and pick one of these up right now, if you're truly a fan of them, is, let's face it, a good, clean one is hard to find. Now, what I mean by that is a lot of them nowadays are a victim to just poor treatment, or, they might have a lot of rust on them.
Cars clap.
And, when you get them in situations or conditions like that, it's hard to bring them back and make them clean, just depending on how much rust or how much damage, you might be talking about. If they're not too far gone, obviously it won't take you that much to, bring it back and get it clean. But, let's face it, there's some where the whole quarter panel is rusted, or, they've suffered some sort of water leaks or, damage. Sometimes they've even been hit and been totaled, and the person tried to, basically bring it back even though it was totaled out. So you might have some damage that you don't see underneath from something like that. And you just don't want to get into that, those kind of problems. So finding a good, clean build it can be difficult. Now, again, another downside is, let's say you do find one that has like a K series in it or something of that nature. That car is probably going to cost you anywhere from $10,000 and up. Now, again, this is just where I'm from. It might be different where you live at. On the other hand, if you find one bone stock, untouched, unmolested, as they say, again, it could still cost you $8,000 and up. So the prices on these things is just going through the roof. And I think some of the reason could be, and I'll show you. Now, again, where I'm from, once these cars get to the point that they're at where they're like 25 and 20 years old and stuff like that, in my state, I'm in Delaware, okay? Once they get to this age, you're able to go to your local DMV, and I'll show you mine, and you can antique the car. Now, it might sound weird, excuse me, to realize that these cars are now considered antiques. But again, where I'm from, once they hit that certain age, you can actually antique the car. You being able to do that alone tells you how old these cars are getting and how hard it is to find a clean one. Now, again, if you want to put some work into one and you don't mind like a little bit of rust or a whole lot of damage, then that's different. But if you want a clean, well-kept one, good luck. I've spent time, because I have people that say, why don't you pick a new build for your channel and, work on it and get content that way. Well, the problem is me having OCD, I try to find a clean of a build as possible. And searching Marketplace and things like that, it really is hard to find a clean build. Now, another problem I have is I'll say about 6 or 7 years ago, right? If you bought one of these, you could go to a junkyard or the U-Puller yard. Now, those of you not familiar, down here where I'm from, the U-Puller yard, it's a junkyard where you can basically go in, pay a certain amount of money, and you could take your toolbox or your bag, whatever, and you could go in the yard, and if you saw a car that you wanted a part off of, you could pull it off yourself and then take it up to the counter when you're done and pay for it. You didn't have to wait for somebody to pull it off the car out there in the yard. So we call that a U-Pull It yard. Now, the problem with that is, I'll be honest with you, these cars, these Civics and EGs and CRXs, they're not in the junkyards no more. If I call around to try to get the simplest little, a molding or just something simple, they all tell me, we don't have none of those in the yard no more. And when I ask why, they basically explained it to me, because we have to make room for the newer cars that are getting wrecked and stuff. A lot of that old 90s stuff, we just crush it. So, again, where I'm from, it's even become hard to find a EK sedan or EK, coupe or something like that, especially not a hatch, in the junkyard that you can take parts off of, excuse me. Now, out in California and stuff like that, again, it may be different. But here where I'm from, good luck. Literally. If you can find one in a junkyard that you can get parts off of, you better take as much as you can because it's almost non-existent. Another reason, whether you have a EK, a EG, a EF, now don't get me wrong, I don't recommend you dailying an EF every day because, with that low horsepower that they come, and we're talking stock. I ain't talking about if you want one with something done to it. Getting off and on the highway, like on, coming off the off-ramp, them cars, them EFs, they don't have a lot of speed to them. I'm talking stock. So I don't know if I'd want to daily a EF every day, but I can say, even though it's not a fast car, these EKs, EGs, CRXs, Del Sols, EFs, whatever you choose, they're all fun to drive. If you ever get behind the wheel, even a stock one, and just spend some time driving around town, I promise you, you will not be disappointed at all. They are fun cars to just drive around. And even though you're not going fast, I'm not going to lie to you, it feels like you're going fast, even though you realize you ain't going nowhere. And my last reason, again, because I'm not trying to hold y'all up too long because I don't want y'all to get tired of seeing me every week. The main reason why I say grab one right now, in my area where I'm from, more and more people are going out and getting these builds, and they're taking them home, and they're cutting the metal off of them and stuff like that, and they're turning them into track cars. If you don't believe me, because I'm pretty sure out in California and stuff like that, or Florida, things of that nature, they had the same thing going on. Next time you go to the track, just pay attention to how many Ek Civic hatches you see on the track, or how many, EGs you see out there, especially the hatchbacks. These guys are finding these cars and they're cutting the metal out of them and they're turning them into track cars because, let's face it, they're super light. So when you cut the metal out of them, that makes them even lighter. And then when they take a B series or a K series and turbo the car, they can run all motor, or they have like the nitro events they can run in. And they're literally taking these cars and they're cutting on them and just using them for the track. It's like a trend. It's a style. And I respect it. But all I'm saying is that's more and more of them that, if you're looking for a clean one, has now been ruined. Because, once you cut it and make it a track car, it can't really be made into a street car, at least not here in Delaware. Once you cut metal and stuff like that off the car, it can no longer be a street car. So that's one more that we've lost that can no longer be enjoyed and driven around just for nostalgic purposes. So, again, I just wanted to spend a little time with you and just go over some reasons why I feel like it's very important that if you are a fan of these JDM cars, especially the early 90s, if you can, jump on it and get them now, while you still can find a clean one. Because, especially again where I'm coming from, these things are very, very, very hard to find, and even harder to find clean and in good shape. If you don't believe me, take some time, spend some time, and do some searching. And like I said, you can comment down below and just share your story with me if you've picked up one or you're in the market to pick up one. Tell me, what kind of time are you having trying to find one clean that, doesn't need a whole lot of work? I really am anxious to hear some of y'all's stories, okay? So with that being said, like I always say, that's my topic for this week. I hope y'all have a blessed week ahead of you. Keep it simple, keep it humble, keep it you. And like y'all always know, I'm going to come up with something to see y'all next week, all right? I love y'all. Stay blessed. Peace. I know y'all don't realize this, but I got my security with me here today because it's kind of late out here when I went to make this video. So, she just had to be here and, sit in the truck waiting for me to get done. I should put her on camera. Oh no, the windows is tinted. She ain't gonna open the door and allow me to get her on camera, y'all. But one day we gonna catch her. I'll see y'all next week though.